Okay, we're live. So, welcome everybody to the third installment on Phil's prelude here with the vampire. Almost slipped there. Werewolf the Dark Ages game here, and this is going to be his third session here on his prelude. And the distinction in this prelude session is going to be that there's actually going to be two players here because this will be the ending of Phil's prelude as well as the ending of John's prelude from before. John's prelude ended with him, with Michael, with Ulf roaming the wilderness, having been given this quest from the spirit of the totem spirit of the bear, which the Warhearts pack is sworn allegiance to. Ulf made acquaintance with the totem spirit of the bear, and the bear tasked him with finding a missing member of their pack. There's one of their own has gone missing, thought to be dead, and yet is not. And Ulf was tasked with finding him and finding her and bringing her back. And as soon as he was given that task, he was told, don't even go back to Oxspear. Oxspear brought him to the bear. Don't even go back to Oxspear. Just go on your task. No need to explain yourself to him. This is a higher cause. This is something that came directly from your totem spirit. So this is something more important than having to squabble with someone whether you're not worthy of this sort of task or not, or something of that sort that would be would be expected from somebody like Oxspear. But as Ulf went on his task, he wound up spending quite a lot of time on that task, because as you're roaming, you don't have any idea where to start. You haven't heard about the only like vague mentions of the war with the Red Talons that took place about a month ago, where Redclaw, Phil's character, was taken prisoner of war. And so basically you don't really know that much where to start. But there is this one area that is, for some reason, this kind of no man's land, this kind of marsh area, this kind of swampy, misty, kind of a gray area in the woods that used to well, you don't know if it used to be a certain tribe's territory, but when you look at the territories of different tribes, there is between the Screaming Eagles and the Bullheads, there is the northern part of the woods that seems to be nobody's territory at this point, and your curiosity and your investigative drive kind of pulls you into that territory, which seems like it's kind of a unsearched kind of area, and especially since when you go like further north in this territory, kind of to the edges of the werewolf territory and further north from there, it starts to seem like you start to stumble onto grounds that the other werewolf packs perhaps haven't searched from. They might have searched the swampy marshlands where you first roamed through, where you have seen things like clear markings of where like there's scratch marks from that only come from werewolf claws on trees, and where you see like places where there's clear like moss missing in the ground, as if a body has been dragged in through the ground, and all this sort of stuff. You see like footprints that have like ripped the greenery from under them, or the soil from under them, that still hold those marks, and you have very much found like these remnants of this kind of no man's land from not too distant past. But as you've rummaged through the more northern parts, there comes a time after having been on the search for about let's say 4 to 5 days. You've made camp for yourself. You've rested and continued on the next day and that sort of stuff. But in one afternoon, as you're searching around, you catch this very specific kind of a scent. As you're human-born, you haven't really mastered the craftsmanship of picking up a scent, or going on a hunt or anything like that. So somebody who would have been born a wolf might have been better suited for this task, but you are the one who was given this task. As you're searching around, you come across this scent that you pick up that is this kind of a strange. It is the stench of a dead body, basically. It's the stench of of basically human bodies decay, and it's this kind of a it's this kind of a nauseating, sick kind of smell that drills into your nostrils, type of thing. But there is something with that. Having gone through the marshlands of the swampy place, it has the certain smell of, having had a lot of corpses in it at one point not too long ago. As you smell this particular stench of a dead body, there's this certain type of well, it's a smell that you can't recognize, but it's something that smells off.
Yeah, I guess, all adding on to just over the 5 days of just being alone, being naked, I'm assuming he was expelled from the Umbra?
Oh, yeah, in a physical way.
Yeah, because last time I was in there, so I don't even know how he did that, so that probably just, maybe the bear helped him with that.
Oh, yeah, it's something, it's actually quite a natural ability for any werewolf, as natural as shifting through the forms or using your rage to, pump yourself up. So as you've gone through the Umbra before, when Oxspear basically punched you, and that was kind of a purely instinctual reaction to happen, because that was a reaction basically to you getting attacked, that kind of thing. But still, it's something where I could say that you were in the Umbra when this started, and then you through simply like this kind of just digging through yourself, and this kind of just this kind of exploration type of thing, just meditation and feeling yourself out. It'll come as naturally as anything to basically just tear a hole, just mentally getting into that sort of mental space where you free your mind, and you can just tear a hole into the fabric of reality and step through the gauntlet that separates the physical and the spiritual worlds and go back to the physical world.
All right, so I would say during the first couple of days, Michael was filled with energy after dealing with Master Bear, feeling his radiance, his grandeur, the magnificence that is all this life energy that he had, that Michael would have figured he could do it, and he was sent on this trip. And once he mastered coming out of the Umbra, a certain amount of confidence flowing through him. And then by the end of the second night, he's sitting there kind of cold. He's starting to that's starting to fade, that adrenaline, that energy. He feels kind of alone, but he knows that in the back of his mind, he kind of feels the bear there. He knows that he's with him. He just, he's not physically there. When his mind begins to drift back to all the things that he's had to deal with, from his fighting with his uncle to Agnes, who he doesn't know what's happened to her, it starts to wear down on him. And after the next couple of days, he sort of turns that around to the point where, well, it's going to be something that he has to set his mind to. He has to, almost like when he's cutting wood, he has to just focus 100% on getting the task done, so that he can answer all those questions that are just nagging at the back of his mind that he can't answer by just sitting here whining or being upset about. and being lackadaisical and slow and lethargic about the quest versus being more energetic and pushing everything he has into it. And then he spends the next couple of days really pushing himself to learn what he can do. Like when he was in the Umbra and he drew the claws out so he could climb the tree. He knows there's more to it. He just doesn't know what it is. And I suppose that's probably kind of when he might probably picks up the scent of the rotting corpses, which I think he might have a certain familiarity too, as in religious rites he would probably have to deal with corpses that are not always newly dead. They could be quite ripe when he gets a hold of them to prep them for the whatever rituals they do for the wake and the funeral rites. And I think almost defensively, Michael kind of moves kind of in a defensive nature, moving from tree to tree, but heading towards the smell, as he's starting to get a little worried that perhaps his quest has ended way too soon, that maybe this is the warrior that he came, and he had wasted too much time thinking over those past 2 days instead of acting, and he might have failed. And the negativity that's been in his mind that was brought upon, years of spending time with his uncle of not completing things properly is what's weighing down on him as he moves from tree to tree, just kind of looking and almost sniffing the air, I guess, trying to draw that scent in, since he seems to almost get, like when he breathes in really deeply, he's starting to figure that he can actually almost pinpoint the direction just by the smell alone. And he starts moving along towards it.
Yeah. As you're going through from tree to tree with your self-doubt and fear and all that, after a while, as you feel like you're getting closer and closer to the smell, you notice that right in front of you, or rather in front of you, but still like under you, as you're from going from tree to tree, you see that there's this rock formation, basically this kind of like cliff, these giant rocks in the ground, sticking up and right next to each other, laying on the ground, that have this kind of a crevice between them. There's these giant rocks on the ground that are really close. They don't look like there's like a they haven't been like severed in between forming the crevice, but they're just so close to each other that they just kind of, there's this kind of a hole, this kind of a pit between them, and you really feel like the smell is coming from straight in that pit, and it's this kind of that kind of a pit where it's easy to kind of hide something, and it looks like a perfect kind of hiding place where it's like this nonchalant, nothing. It doesn't look like any particular type of location that's that really stands out from anywhere, but there's this kind of a very neat kind of a hole there, this crevice for where you could easily hide stuff, and that's.
So it looks like a natural place as opposed to like a cairn or something that someone would bury someone. Definitely, it's natural, just with a crevice where you could just dump anything in there.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I think once Michael notices that, he'll move quickly up the side, and then look down into the crevice to see what's down there.
Do you mean like the side of a tree or the side of the rocks?
Oh, yeah, I suppose that would be. Yeah, he would actually go to the rocks, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So after you've gone down from the tree itself and all that, as you get closer to the rocks, you feel almost like this, even though it's the afternoon and usually mist and all that is kind of like more of a morning or an evening type of a ordeal. As you go there and you kind of move closer to the rock, as you kind of go and touch the rock itself, you feel almost like you're not even sure if it's actually so, but you feel like this kind of this air of this little vapor in the air is kind of just kind of moving away from it a little bit, and you hear almost like you're not even sure if you're just like, was that something else, or you hear this kind of a in your ears as you like go and touch the rock on the ground.
Immediately, like Michael leaps, kind of steps back away from the rock, and then kind of crouches down and kind of just listens. Like, did he hear what he heard? Did he feel any? Is that, is the sun playing tricks on him? He hasn't eaten in a while. Is he going insane? Is he just hunger pains causing his visions? And he slowly, kind of tentatively reaches out to touch the rock again.
As you go to touch it again, it's like none of it was there. Like, you don't hear anything special. It's just like try touching any rock anywhere. None of the voice or anything having to do with fog or anything is there. Just touching a straight up rock, just splat your hand there.
Once Michael calms his heart rate down, he kind of just wipes his face and tries to wake himself up a little bit, slaps his cheeks a little, and then just begins climbing up the rocks again to look down into that crevice.
Okay. As you climb the rock there and you wind up to the spot where you can look down into the crevice, you see that the crevice itself isn't very deep. Like, if you were to stick your arm there, you could reach the bottom easily with your full length of your arm there. Even in your human form, I'm expecting, since you were climbing in trees, you're in your Krynos form at this point. Or
yeah, I guess that would be the easiest. Yeah.
Okay, well, in that form, especially, it will be easy to reach into it. But as you go and look into it, you see that there is a dead body there. But the dead body sticks out very much. Like, you've seen dead bodies before, but this one is, well, it looks like it's been there for at least 6 months or something. It's very much like decayed eyes, sunken in and all this sort of stuff. And it's like right from below its eyes, its face has been, to you, it looks like his face has been bitten off. Like, everything from here to here has been bitten off by something that only or well, at least a lupus werewolf could do, like just chomp on his face. And the body has priest's robes on it. The body has these red wine colored, dark red priest robes on it. It has like these red socks on it, or these kind of medieval shoes that are basically like socks with long tips on them. He has like red gloves that go all the way to his elbow, and he has the priest's robes with the part that covers the shoulders there and that sort of stuff. And he has his face completely like bitten off. And another peculiar little feature about him you notice immediately is that he has a very, very clearly, you can easily see that he has this bruise around his neck, either from being strangled with a rope or having a necklace on it that has been either pulled from his neck very violently, or that he has been strangled with the necklace or something. But there is this thin, bruised line around his neck where it very much looks like he used to have a necklace on, but doesn't anymore. And that's what you see lying in the crevice.
The red robes, I mean, in my head, I'm thinking like a cardinal or a bishop or something like that, a higher level priest.
Actually, it's something that you've never seen before.
Okay.
You've seen many different colors where there's certain lines of color, certain like these they're not scarves, but these basically these things coming around their neck that are in different colors and all this sort of stuff. Black robes with maybe a specific color hat or something like that. But you've never seen something that's from head to heel, like red wine, like blood red.
So it doesn't scream like a Christian priest or anything like that.
It does, but the color is the only thing that's off. That's the color is the only thing that you don't recognize. Like, you don't know any brotherhood or any certain church that where a sect or anything of that sort would wear, completely red robes. Also, his head, he has the same pot haircut with the bald patch in the middle, and the body is basically just like it's just in a kind of a it hasn't been like positioned in any specific. It's just been like tossed there or dropped there,
Right. So Michael, he goes, my God, because he's still in the Krynos form. He's got that deep, and he kind of just immediately reverts back to his human form, and actually begins giving a prayer, because he, in his head he can't. That's almost his natural response. Then he kind of stops and he thinks about what he's doing, and he still continues the prayer, because this is for that person, not for him. He's trying to honor that person's rights, since Michael's still dealing with his whole what he believes in. Yeah, and he sort of backs away from the whole, excuse me, and immediately looks around the ground. Like, does he see any droplets of blood, dried blood, or anything around that would show like a way or a distance that someone had dragged the body from?
No, not really. But since when you first picked up the smell of the body, there was something particular about it. Now that you're right there close to the body, you can really smell that there is this, not only this decaying human body smell, but this sulfuric, maybe a little bit like ammonia-like smell. This very like I would say chemical-like smell, but it's like this kind of a sulfuric acid type of smell. It's of course a smell that your character wouldn't be like, oh, this smells exactly like sulfuric acid, but it's like that's the kind of thing, like it's something that you haven't picked up from a dead body before, and when you kind of really get like a feel to it, you immediately pick up a scent, as it's like it's been dragged from that direction. The same scent you're picking up is to that direction right there, and it's pointing like further up north.
Michael turns to start heading north almost instinctively when he picks up that scent, and he takes like 4 or 5 steps, and then kind of looks back over his shoulder and yeah, he kind of walks back, and he stands like at the edge of the crevice looking down at the body, and he just kind of shakes his head, and he says a quick Latin prayer for the dead, and then knowing that, take the time out to bury him and do that, the person he has to save could be in even more danger. So he kind of marks the spot in his head, looking around at the sun and the trees and the area, and then kind of transforms into that middle form, like where he's not the big, giant, massive werewolf, but the half-human, and then just kind of runs really quickly as fast as he can.
Okay. You would most likely run fastest when you're in the giant wolf form, but
it doesn't. It just, because I've never played before, there's really no difference between, like, I've changed into that form now, so I feel fairly confident. I know I've never gone wolf side, so I don't feel confident going into anything.
Okay, yeah, true.
That's why I haven't said, hey, I'm a wolf, because I know that those are the faster forms, but in my head. But it doesn't take, like, more energy to be in the werewolf form or anything. We can walk around in werewolf form all the time if we wanted, or... Yeah,
sure.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I guess, since he's comfortable with it, and if he moves really fast, like you're saying, yeah, definitely he would do that. That makes way more sense. That'd make hunting easier, too, so...
Yeah, it's since there is such a strong smell, and you've found this place through scent, it's easy to imagine yourself finding this place again whenever you need to. Really, it's kind of actually like a new sensation, since before, as a human, you've always had to rely very much on your vision and visual cues of, okay, there's the certain kind of trees, certain kind of rocks, certain kind of this and that, but now you've kind of discovered this kind of mapping out mechanism through smell, and that's kind of something like you have like data stored in your head now about a certain smell of a certain location, that kind of thing. But as you start to in your glabra form, you start to run through the forest further up north, following the smell. At one point, as you've gone on far enough, the woods around you start to kind of they kind of go. Well, there's less trees and less trees all of a sudden. There's a lot fewer trees right next to one another. There's this larger areas where it seems like perhaps there's more trees that have just rotten and just fallen to the ground, and it just seems like, and the ground seems a bit more muddy as you're going around forward. And as you're going forward, you see this opening in the woods. You see this area where there's no trees, there's no grass, there's only muddy soil that doesn't even look brown. It looks like gray, and it looks like this. It doesn't even look like this, like pure clay-like gray. It looks like this greenish gray. This kind of a, if there could be like a rot in the soil with like this fungus kind of springing from the ground. You see that in the distance before you, like 100 meters in front of you. And as you see that, the trail of the scent drops cold right there, like right in the middle of a perfect line of scent. It just goes cold immediately, and it's it's almost like a. It's almost like some if like it's like walking through to a wall. It's the scent just completely dies off.
Right. Totally being caught off guard. Michael running as fast as he can. He just kind of stops and skids and just kind of digs his claws on the ground, just sliding probably about 10 feet from the speed he was going. Then just kind of heads back towards. He's like really confused, like what the fuck is happening? Where'd the smell go? And he starts running back. And then when he picks it up, he's like, he kind of circles the area, looking to see if maybe, like a dog would. He's looking for like a mark to see if it went off in a different direction, perhaps. Maybe something tried to disguise its trail. But the abruptness of it, the stopping of it, and he kind of, like clue that he had was the change in when he came out of the Umbra. There was a totally different set of smells that when he went from the Umbra back. When he learned to meditate out, and then the flood of the pine trees and the wilderness, the ferns, the ground, the moss, everything just around him erupted into his senses when he came back into the real area. And in his head, he's going through his head about what that could be, and he kind of takes a couple seconds to walk around the edge of that gross mud, and kind of looking into the distance to see if he can see like how wide of an area it is. And after, I know it's large, so it's not that big of a deal to him. So he'll just kind of look at it just to make sure it's not something he can just run around. And he backs up and kind of just fully goes into his Krenos form and gets back behind a large set of trees that are off in the distance. And then he just gonna start concentrating, and then try to step into the Umbra like he did. Like when Oxfear headbutted him into the Umbra last time.
Yeah, don't hit your head on the tree or something.
That's
Try to recreate the sensation.
Last time.
I need to get concussed every time I need to go to the opera.
Somebody headbutt me.
But yeah, it's as you concentrate, it comes again very naturally. Like it's almost like there is a curtain right in front of you, and just through concentration, you can like push your hand between through the curtains, and kind of open your way through. It's very much like this mentally just getting this curtain to open, the fabric of reality, the gauntlet that's there is right, like you can just feel it right in front of you, like a chain link fence or something, and it just opens up in front of you, though because you're still such a young werewolf, it opens up a lot more slowly than when Oxspear would have used it or somebody like that. It kind of just like, or when, no, actually that was that was in Phil's. Prelude. Well, yeah, you see it open very slow, like it's. If somebody was like running behind you, this would have taken too far to be reliable option for an escape or something. It opens up quite slowly. It actually like feels like you're forcing it kind of mentally open, with like actual strength as it like opens, and these Tesla style electrical just these electric buzzing, lighting just goes on the edges of the tear, and as you're opening it, it's like this reflective surface, this kind of flowing quicksilver like surface that's like there in front of you, and it's right there for you to walk through it.
Michael kind of quickly just kind of steps through it, knowing that it takes him, that long to open it, which, actually a lot longer than he was hoping. And then he steps in, and then immediately kind of looks around, trying to take in everything he possibly can to adjust his senses to, the umbra and the bluish coloring and everything that's different.
Yeah, actually, as soon as you go through it, it's like as soon as you press your head around it and just go through it, it's as soon as your head like sticks through it, your senses are overtaken with this sulfuric ammonia like sense that it's like drilling through your nostrils, just making it like this horrible stench. And as you open your eyes, you can already like feel this kind of your eyes kind of watering, because you see in that 100 meters away from you of an area where there was this disgusting rotting looking muddy soil there, you see that in the umbra there is this great orange foggy glow coming from it. As you squeeze through, you see that the area that has no wood there, that has no trees there, that had this mud there in the physical realm, here it has this strange, like this grid there, this kind of these prison bars on the ground made out of tree trunks that have this kind of cauldron on top of it, this kind of wok pan looking cauldron that just like dry ice in a chemistry lab just spews out this bright orange, yellowish, reddish, this fume, this mist from it that gives you that sort of like sensation of a horrific smell that also like affects your eyes and makes you want to breathe out of your mouth, and feels almost like your tongue is like even swelling up slightly as you're like there. It feels like 5 flavors of wrong as you're seeing it in front of you. But that's like the smell that you smelled from the dead body, just the volume turned way up. But this is clearly what it was leading up to.
Michael kind of was like, and he kind of like almost scratching at his face to get the smell and the burning sensation. And once his eyes clear slightly enough where he can see, the orange, the mist is flowing out like it's following the ground, right?
Yeah, but it's not too far. Like you're not close enough to touch the mist coming from it, but it pretty much fills the area where you saw the mud there, but it doesn't fill it enough where it's nothing but bright orange, but it's like these puffs of orange like going around the area type of thing, but it's still the stench and the sensation in your eyes and in your senses, comes even from this distance.
All right. Instinctively, Michael will just leap up to the tree and just climb as high as he can, to get a better vantage view, and hopefully kind of to get out of it. Like if it's kind of low in his head, he's thinking it's not going to be as high. To at least maybe clear his senses, to give him a couple seconds to regain composure to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. That actually works as you're going into a tree, and as you're again back in the Umbra, it's again this like I've described before, like these aquatic color tones. There, the moon is gigantic in the sky. There's triple the amount of stars in the sky. There's all sorts of spirits and life tingling about everywhere. As you go and climb the tree, you can see all the little insect life and all the other kind of flowing auras everywhere, and it's very much like the sensation of like this kind of entering this world of the essence of everything type of thing. But still, as you go into the tree and climb up higher, you do get away from the sensation of that horrible stench, at least to a certain degree. And from this higher vantage point, as you're looking down, you can see clearer that in that place where that cauldron is, where that orange fog is spewing out, you can see that the grid that it's on top of, that grid made out of tree trunks, that is forming this kind of a like these prison bars. You see that it's the top of a pit. There's a giant pit underneath that grid, and you see that it's not just, you know, there is this sort of a this kind of hellish imagery, you know, in this, as this kind of a thick cauldron that you've been scared as a child with imagery of being boiled forever in hellfire and all this sort of stuff, and you see this cauldron spewing this nauseating red mist there, and underneath it is something that looks like a prison, you know, and you know it has an effect, a distinct effect on you.
Yeah, as Michael's brain catches up and he remembers the horrific stories and remembers the times when he was traveling through France and the way they had all their bars and the portcullises that came down. That's what triggers in his head. It's like that's some sort of like a jail cell, like you were saying. And then it starts clicking that perhaps, like I'm assuming even when I look down, I see the wooden barricade, but everything underneath is kind of filled with that orange stuff, right? So whatever's in there is completely covered, and it starts like dawning on me that if this hurts me from here, I can't even imagine the pain that if someone was in there, what they would be suffering through. And kind of instinctively, he just kind of breathes in a deep thing and just lets out a howl, just as loud as he can. He means to actually just yell like hello, just a greeting, and as it just comes out, it's like, oh! Just lets out this massive roar that he's never done before, but it feels almost natural.
Yeah, it's this Day of the Dead. Hello, is anyone there? Hello. But yeah, at that point, I'm gonna skip back into Phil and Red Claw. Red Claw was at last time we saw her was the point where she was left into that prison pit that was just described. She has been a prisoner of war for what now has been a full month, about 4 weeks or even more than that. The time from when the last session ended, and then to compare that to the time frame of when when Michael was introduced to this game, and when he had his first change and all this, and was sent on this mission by the spirit of the bear. There has been a full month between those two time periods there, and the whole time, the last thing that Red Claw saw in the sense of contact with another living being that you could talk to and have any sort of contact with was was with pure love, the one who imprisoned you here, the one who was mentally beating you down and tormenting you and interrogating you and questioning your morals and your duties and everything you stand for and all your all the struggles and all the loyalties you have and everything like that was put under a microscope, and you were belittled for them. You were being made a fool of for being loyal and strong to your allies and your friends and for the humans who live in the Wildemark town in your Pax territory and all of that stuff. That was the last contact you had with anyone for the last 4 weeks that you've been in this hellhole, this pit of this disgusting, vile mud, and having this bear maze type of fog just filling the air, rendering you like hard to breathe, hard to see, hard to smell, and hard to really summon strength for yourself. So that whole time it has been well, explain what has been going through the mind of Red Claw during this 4 weeks.
Alright, so during this time she's been by herself, and those last thoughts that she's had with the last conversations she had with Pure Love, that's repeating over and over again in her head. She's been thinking about her loyalties, why she is here, how she got here, obviously. Oxspear is a huge part to blame for that in her mind, and part of her is trying to latch on to something to stay in touch of her faculties, but it's hard to do so as every literal breath that she takes is sapped away from her, and this nauseating, disgusting burn followed by the foul stench of death itself and filling her nostrils, and the only way for her to even maintain a small semblance of strength is to suck the marrow out of the bones that she has found buried beneath the mud. These fellow Garou, as she can only imagine, have succumbed. She has to pick the bones and suck out the marrow and scoop it out and eke what little strength there is, but even that isn't enough. And this whole time she's been trying to think about if she ever going to get out of here. This is no way for her to die. In her mind, this is the worst way to die, not in battle, but in a slow, suffocating death, as if you're being coiled around by a large snake and is slowly pressing the life out of you. That's how she feels, this slow death approaching. And that only infuriates her even more so that she be denied this at the cost of what? Some fool's philosophical ramblings, his mad prophecies leading her to this? No. She can't, and yet she can't help but question the things that Pure Love has posed to her. She begins pacing back and forth, talking out loud at this point, conversing with the skull that she had found, shoving it into the mud, and then as she goes back and forth, reminding herself back and forth, I am Geta Fenris, yes, I am Geta Fenris, that is who I am, Red Claw, yes, me, I'm warrior, I will not fall here. And those thoughts, those things, is what's been driving around in her mind. Constant reminders so that she does not forget, because she knows that the second that she does, just like this mist blanketing her, it'll make her forget, and she'll die. And she can't die. Not yet. There's a war going on. Or from her mind's perspective, she doesn't even know how long it's truly been. The days have all seemed to mesh into one long time that has stretched. It feels like an eternity. She's emaciated. Her flesh has been quite torn. Bits of hair even pulled off. And she's sitting there, staring as she hears a howl the first time in a long time, and she questions whether that's even real, because she's heard these things before, but they were just in her head, her hopeful ambitions, thinking that they found her. No, this can't be real.
Yeah, you do hear those howls, but like you said, you can't be sure if they're actually there. And also yourself, you're in such a weak, physically weak, well, also mentally weak after this whole time, that uh, something like you haven't even spoken like in a strong, loud tone yet during your time here. It's mostly like as you're talking to yourself, you're mostly mumbling to yourself type of thing, and it's not even you feel like as you feel like you're breathing being, a little bit hinged because of the fog that's spewing from the cauldron above you, straight above your head. Like as you look to the moon, you've seen that the distance between you and the moon has been, locked off by this grid, this prison bar. Grid there, and on top of it, a cauldron that's spewing this life-draining poison onto you. And cutting your connection to the Luna, above you. And as you hear those howls, you're not even sure, even if they were real, you're not even sure if you would muster the strength to answer them.
Feeling so weak. All she can do at that point is kind of slump down and grabbing some of the bones around her. Out of frustration, she just kind of clacks them together, but then realizes that they echo quite loudly, louder than her voice could ever be. And a slow bit of a cough and a whimper, which is even harder since this mist is in there. Just she grabs the skull and the bone and she begins clacking them. Tink, 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 tink. Tink, 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 tink.
All right. John, Michael hears that. You're paying such close attention to any sort of a response to your howl. After you've let out a couple of howls, you do hear distinct coughing from the direction of that cauldron and that pit. And once you hear that coughing and this kind of heavy, this kind of kind of choked up sounding breathing, you do hear that kind of not exactly Morse code, but still this kind of clear sounds that somebody is banging one thing on another. Clear indication that there is someone.
Michael's heart begins to just pound with energy, and almost when he transforms, where he gets his blood just flows through, burning through him. He kind of looks down the 30 feet down from where he is, and where normally as a human he would never leap it, attempt to leap it. He remembers the fight with Oxspear, and Oxspear kicking him so far into the air, and he didn't die when he landed, even though he wasn't trying to land on his feet. He landed on his back, and he kind of just Michael kind of grabs a hold of the tree and squats as tight as he can, pushing himself, and then just leaps as far back as he can towards the pit, trying to land near it, trying to get as far up to where the pit is without getting into that orange crap that's spewing out of the cauldron.
Yeah. You managed to do that, and as you're a strong, big werewolf, supernatural creature, indeed, as you leap off of that tree and you land very close to the pit, you don't hurt yourself landing. But what does happen is that your body weighs so much that you pretty much sink ankle deep into that disgusting mud that's on the edges of that pit. It's just this kind of oatmeal, like, this cold, it sends almost like chills through your legs. It's like, it's just, and it stinks horrible. Not that it would stand out next to the stench coming from the cauldron itself, but as you land there, it's very much like this. Rotten food gets that kind of a gel, like this kind of, those kind of snot-like streams. It's like this has that kind of a quality to it. But yeah, the grid's edge is right there in front of you, and Red Claw also. You heard after you smacked on that skull and that bone enough times, you heard this clear thump of somebody just, or if not somebody, something, but you hear clearly this sound from the edge outside the grid there.
Oh, as soon as she hears that, her mind begins racing, and she thinks, someone's there. But then she stops as she's clattering, and she thinks, this is another pure love trick. Yes, he's trying to wear me down again. Yes, this is my only opportunity left. If he comes back down here again, I can get him. Yes. And then she pulls out one of the bones that she's been gnawing on, and has its jagged edges and stuff, and she kind of hides it behind herself. She backs herself up against the wall with the skull in her other hand, and she sits there and waits, and she breathes heavily, and occasionally she'll make like a clattering noise just to let them know, whoever it is that's up there.
Okay. As Michael gets to the edge, that's what you see. You see the edge of the grid there right in front of you, and the cauldron right in front of you in the middle of that, continuing to spew down from every hole on that grid, just this.
Michael just kind of yanks his massive claws out of this viscous material, just dripping everywhere, climbing up onto the the massive logs that are across. He kind of, as he's coming forward, he's kind of just lets out a feral growl, not even just out of strain and just disgusted grossness of something that he's never had to deal with. And if his adrenaline wasn't pounding through him, I'm sure the human side of him would just be gorging, throwing up everywhere. But because of the wolf side, he's just powering through it, and that guttural sound of, and he kind of moves forward, and he kind of looks into the pit, but his eyes are on the cauldron, and I don't remember how big is the cauldron? Is it huge, or?
It is big enough where if you were in your Krynos form, you would still have to grab it like like it's big.
Can I, when I look into the pit, do I see anything? Or is it just completely orange? And
it's pretty much orange and black. You could make out shapes if there were moving shapes, but since Red Claw went backed herself through to the wall, it's pretty much, if she wishes to stay still, it will be very, very hard to make her out.
Yeah,
but it is like right in front of you. You can the cauldron is still it's like clear that in front of you that the cauldron is constantly, actively pumping more and more of this stuff into the pit itself there. So that's like an active threat there.
Yeah. So Michael with another roar, and he says, "I'm coming," in his Krynos form, and he just kind of runs forward, pressing his claws into it, and then just putting his two massive hands onto the cauldron, and begin just shoving, pushing it to slide it into the mud, hoping to kind of flip it over at the end.
As you're trying to push it, it's like the shape is such that it's very hard to move it to the side. It has these two handles on its side where it's clearly it's been built to be originally brought there by carrying it in would either have to be like two humans carrying from each side, or one Krynos, carrying it from with both hands. But it's like a wok pan where it's like very hard to where it's so spread out with the weight that it's hard to push it with from the side.
Okay, so when Michael hits it, he strains against it. He kind of obviously feels that that's futile. He kind of stands up on the logs and he kind of reaches down, trying to grab those handles, and just with a roar, he just kind of grabs it and tries to just yank it up and just kind of move it out of the way.
Yeah.
Trying to jump it off to the side. I don't want to go in the pit, so he wants to make sure he gets over.
Yeah, lift it up and
Here you go, Phil.
Leave no evidence. But yeah, it's as you go right next to it, as you go and take your hands and go close to it, you see that the fog at that point, when you're going that close, when you're basically going into the sticking your hands into like where the fog will like completely cover your hands as they grab the handles, you can hear this and see this like this acidic burning smoke coming off of your skin. You don't feel the pain. It's like you learn to deal with the pain that your uncle dealt with you when he was reprimanding and beating you. You managed to deal with the pain that Oxspear was dealing to you with the punches, and now with this, it's like you're dealing with the pain. You're dealing with this, and it's like you can see that, yeah, it's burning. Oh God, yes, it's burning. That's some fine burning, but it's not getting to you mentally. It's not getting to you physically. You see your own flesh, emitting this smoke, but it's not getting to you mentally. And as you go and try and lift it, you get it up like a centimeter off of the ground before you already become like you're not like a warrior. You're not like built for strength. Your Krynos form is pretty much as strong as the strongest human in the world. It's like as you're trying to lift it, and you just feel in yourself that there is someone underneath this grid. You know that there is someone who needs your help, and you've been brought up all your life being taught about this the biblical teachings of helping your neighbor, not like leaving your comrades behind type of thing. You feel this this rush of this moral duty that you feel like there is someone out there, and I need to muster my all to help him. And as you're trying to lift all of your damn worth, you feel your heart again beat this separate beat, this kind of this thumping that feels like it's like a battering ram against your rib cage, and you feel this this flow of this kind of energy going through your veins from your heartbeat. This kind of same sort of energy you felt when you were dealing with the bear, when the bear spirit was giving you a glimpse to the totem spirit of the bear itself, and it was straining you spiritually. You feel like this bear spirit is just being pumped into you, and you hear in your own ear, you hear this roaring. You look up at the moon that's ginormous in the sky in the umbra, and you see this kind of a shadow on the moon of a bear's face that zooms into its eye, and you hear this bear growl in your heart of hearts inside you, and you feel as you're going to lift it, you feel your Krynos toe nails just sink into the tree trunks beneath you, just splinters exploding off of your toes, just as you're grabbing onto it tighter, and as you're lifting, you feel like your neck is starting to go into this muscle spasm of just and this and just this slob is forming in your mouth that's like just spraying from between your teeth, just this as you're lifting it, and these singular muscles here and there, these small and different sized muscles on your neck, on your body, just start to pop into these double sizes, just this like this, and your vein is like popping on your forehead that's like the size of a garden hose, and you're just, and you feel like one of your nostrils just drip blood, just like when you first saw the glimpse of the bear spirit, the way your mind was like seeing things it couldn't quite handle. Again, you feel the blood drain from your nose as you're just Conan the Barbarian theme playing in the background as you lift it to the Atlas position basically on top of you, and you have this cauldron spewing this evil mist right on top of you, and you feel like the bear spirit completely like envelop you and strengthening you for this task to help one of your own. And what do you do when you have that cauldron on top of your head?
You just feeling the pure power of the bear and knowing what he is, he just kind of falls into it and just goes, just toss it as far as he can. He just tosses it way out into the the muck and the grossness out there, and then he just lets out a roar that's kind of like half wolf, half bear kind of combination, and not even knowing why, he just kind of lets out kind of like a Fenris, and just lets out a roar, almost from the inside of his head. He doesn't know where it comes from, just lets out that roar.
Yeah, as you let it out, it's like this almost like this misty aura of your body, along with sweat pellets on your body, just like explode off as you tense up all your upper body muscles as you let out that roar. But that's what Redclaw sees. Like, you didn't believe that was what it first seemed like. You were like, this is another trick, this is my mind playing tricks, or this is pure love coming back, or somebody like pure love and that sort of thing. But then you see this feat happen right in front of you as you see Krinos lift the cauldron, and you see like drops of this pure orange goop just come like doop, 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 from the sides as it's being lifted, and then you see it being tossed, and you hear this roar being paid in homage to the spirit of the bear, which you know is the totem spirit of your own pack, the Warhearts.
Well, as I hear this, my heart is lifted. All the doubts that I suddenly had in my mind are suddenly hitting a brick wall and coming to the conclusion that it's not what it seems, and that it surely what I thought wasn't going to happen has finally happened. One of my own, is it truly possible? One of my own has come, and she gets this renewed, hopeful vigor just pumping through her veins and her mind, and she grips onto those bones and that skull even harder, and she feels her muscles tense up. But they're so immense. She's so emaciated and weak. It's almost insulting for her to even try to do so. But she musters up, she backs up away from the wall and towards the center, her feet sinking into the muck, and she looks up, and her hands tightening across the bones, and as she looks up, she takes in a deep breath as much as she can. Down here!
Michael definitely hears that, and as you look down, your heart kind of sinks. As you look down, you become literally heartsick at the sight that you're seeing, because you see a woman who's pretty much like a death camp survivor. It's you the sight of her condition is something that, like, on its own just chokes you up, especially someone like you who's been, you know, taught into this kind of a this kind of a sympathetic, empathetic kind of a role in society and that sort of thing. When you see someone else in suffering, it affects you, and when you see this level of suffering, you don't think you've ever actually, well, perhaps sometime in your travels you've seen perhaps lepers or something, but the sight of her clearly visible suffering just gets you, like, really, really strong.
Yeah, when Michael looks down, he immediately kind of like, he's like, no, almost like to himself, like he can't believe what he's seeing, and drops down so that the upper part of his body falls between the logs, and his legs are kind of splayed out to hold himself up, and he's sort of just reaching down as far as he can towards this injured person, this warrior who seems more fragile than anything he could imagine, this injured person that needs his help.
As you do that, Red Claw sees this other werewolf, this Krynos form, yank down and reach out with his hand, and the sight that there's a hand coming down to reach for you to grab in basically the height that you could reach it, but it feels like your hand, lifting your own arm, is like a huge chore at this point. Again, it's like you feel like you're made out of lead. It's like, at the same time, what you're seeing is like something you wouldn't even dare to hope for, somebody reaching out a helping hand to pull you out of this hellhole, but at the same time you're so weak, you're like, ooh.
She, with her feet dug into the muck and stuff, and looking up, seeing this hand come down to her, she tosses aside one of the bones in her hand. She's still gripping onto the skull, and she takes another deep breath and strains herself, and then she digs in deep this time, and she finds some last bit of rage that has kept her going all this other time. This rage, that the outrage of keeping her here, the outrage of why she is in this situation, and she musters it, and she holds up, and she thinks in her head, I am Gert of Fenris, reach up! And she reaches up and she grabs into the hand.
Okay, there you go. John, your hand has been reached.
Yeah.
It's like this, you son of a bitch. you have the hands are clutched. You have her.
So Michael, he feels her. I mean, obviously he eased the strain and everything it took for her just to lift her arm, and he grabs a hold of her and squeezing. I mean, obviously my hand is so much larger than hers. I mean, he's just holding on to her, and he firmly but gently, lifts her, starts to lift her from the ground so as not to jar her. And then once he can get his other hand, he almost grabs a hold of her and cradles her, and then slowly kind of just eases his way back up, holding her in almost not only in a fetal position, but holding her close so that she doesn't, he doesn't jar her or shake her or smash her. You can see that she's so injured that you can't even imagine how she's alive. Yeah.
Yeah. Something to note though. Her hair is, what little you can see of it is red, but it is caked in this thick mud, these layers of mud that has just caked her hair, her face, her body is covered with it. Parts of it dry, parts of it not so dry. And the flesh that you do see, the muscles that are emaciated, this also looks like it's been burnt and stuff. That same feeling from that orange, disgusting mist, but it's all over her body, and bits of her faces, her eyes are slightly sunken in. But there's still that ember, that fire of determination burning behind them, but nevertheless, you could see her ribs and stuff and caked in mud, and obviously she is nude, and just sitting there, and she's pretty tall too. She's around almost around 6 foot, as you have her there, and she's just all cradled up, and she leans forward up against you. Thank you.
Michael just still in his Krynos form. He's like, "Shh, quiet. You need to get out of here." And he slowly begins to walk across the platform towards just out of that muck. He knows he steps into it and rises calf deep and just kind of trudges through it, just still holding you, not even thinking to put you down if he wanted to or not. He just seems to hold you close, and he says, the bear sent me. As if that would clarify everything, since Michael knows nothing.
Bear? You mean our totem spirit?
As he walks, Michael looks down. He kind of says, he kind of nods, almost as if he's not sure. You can kind of see like a questioning look in his own eye. And then you're starting to really get the idea of, like, you don't recognize him at all. Like,
which tribe do you hail from? Which pack? Which pack?
After a couple seconds, I'm sorry. Eunice, what's the town we come from?
Well, you don't really even know that you're offended. You haven't been assigned to any specific pack yet. And
I was just going to say I'm from.
The town was called Vildmark.
Oh, Vildmark. That's it. So yeah, so I look down at Red Claw and I'm like, I'm from Vildmark.
Vildmark. Okay. Did you see any other red talons here?
I don't know what a red talon is.
And she looks up to you, and she has this like her eyebrow kind of raises up, and she's like, "What?" This very questioning look in her eye, and she goes, "Red. It is the clan who attacked us. The clan who put me in here."
Michael kind of looks and looks down at you and he's like, I've seen no one. A dead priest in red robes.
A dead priest. I know nothing of this. She begins looking around at this point, trying to see if there's any traces, anything that she can point out.
Not really. You do notice that you do recognize the area enough where you know that, much like what Bloodbelt told his men where to take you to Pure Blood, to take you up north to Pure Blood, you recognize that you are beyond the borders of the territory that was formerly the territory of the Pit Fiends in your day. But if Bloodbelt was being truthful that they completely annihilated the Pit Fiend pack, it's you don't know what's come of that land. And also him saying that he is from Vildmark, he's coming from the place that you were being put down and belittled for defending, and also the fact that he's from Vildmark suggests that Vildmark is still around. So that's like the first glimmer of hope in that sense of figuring out what's been going on this whole time. If Vildmark is still, it still exists, that might give certain direction to how well the Red Talons succeeded.
Well, she begins looking around, and she'll meet your eyes. And when she does, she'll say, "Let us progress back to Vildmark. Make haste. Be sure that you are not spotted by the others. We are in enemy territory." And as you proceed to move, she'll kind of look back over your shoulder, and she'll kind of mumble under her breath and say, "I will find you, pure love. Pray to your totem spirit that someone else has met your end. For if I find you, it will be worse." And then her head kind of collapses onto your shoulder at that point.
Yeah. Michael does notice that she is a bit delirious, perhaps, or she.
She is still holding onto that human skull too. That's still in her hands.
Okay. Well, well, Michael sees all this in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's overwhelmed with just knowledge and stuff. And when she passes out, he wants to question her because he doesn't even know. I mean, he doesn't. Is she a wolf like he is? Is she the warrior? I mean, he's assuming she is. She was locked up, and that's the person. But the Master Bear never gave him any information as to who. He just said the warrior. Very descriptive when you're trying to track someone down. So Michael's feeling a little lost, but he does his best to move as quickly, but as gently as possible, as he's still afraid to jar her or jostle her in any way. And it's not even at this point that she's weak; she's just sleeping. He figures if that orange shit had been pouring on her for days and days and days, she probably hasn't slept in who knows how long. So he's just trying to gently carry her along, still in his Kratos form. But once he gets far enough away from that gray, viscous snot material that's everywhere, and he's not breathing in as much of that sulfuric energy, that awfulness, he's going to kind of pass out of the Umbra back into the real world.
Yeah. That happens again very instinctively, very similarly to before, just, carrying the gauntlet out, stepping sideways through the gauntlet back into this physical world. And it's almost like it's refreshing to be back in the world where the senses are all familiar, even though in the spirit world the senses are just different. They are something to be interpreted, but having been at that specific location with those circumstances, it's very relieving to be back in the physical realm. And since Red Claw has kind of passed out at this point, she isn't there to really enjoy the feeling itself, since she has been in the Umbra for the entirety of her time being in captivity. But as you're walking there, you feel like the thumping in your chest that you felt before as you're carrying her. The more she's laying her head on your shoulder there, the more she seems like frail, powerless. This kind of a very much like this, that she's completely dependent on you. This kind of caretaker-like feel, kind of when it kind of comes over you. You feel again the same sort of heartbeat underneath your chest as you did before when you lifted the cauldron, and you feel just this kind of, and you feel almost like when you look at her neck and you see like a vein that's where you can visibly, she's gone so thin during this time that you can see the veins, like you can see the pulse in her from just looking at her veins. You can see that heartbeat that you're feeling under your chest, it gets synchronized to the heartbeat that you can see off of her, and you can see her chest also beating there strongly. And as you're doing that, you feel this kind of the remnants of that aura that was in you as you lifted that cauldron. Those bear spirit, those kind of remnants led out from your heart in this kind of a comforting, warm, well, mist-like, this kind of a aura-like air kind of flows from your chest onto your neck and shoulders, and from your neck and shoulders to your arms, and from your arms into Red Claw's body, and you feel like it leaves your, like, all the way to your fingertips, it leaves your arms, and it feels like it's slightly enveloping the restful, kind of unconscious body of Red Claw, and you feel like the bear spirit has been described, and as you've felt it in your own self, that it's a totem of strength and of wisdom and of healing and all this sort of stuff. You feel like you just experienced the strength of the bear, and now you feel like the nurturing side of the bear, as you feel like as you're carrying her, you feel like the remnants of the bear is restoring her health a bit by bit as she's laying there in your arms.
Mike, seeing that, kind of like smiles to himself and closes his eyes, and he just kind of internally, he just thanks Master Bear, and almost like saying a prayer to him, though he doesn't know how, but that's what he feels that he must do. He just kind of thanks him and continues forward.
Where do you plan to go on from here? Do you plan to go to the crevice that you saw before? Do you plan to go to Bildermark straight away, or do you plan to go to the place where Oxspear showed you the rock formation with where you first had contact with the bear spirit, or do you plan to go somewhere else? Or
right. So Michael at the moment is thinking that he needs to, on top of what the bear is doing to help and heal her, she hasn't eaten. So in his head, he needs to get a certain distance away from the shit spewing area to a place where he can, gently place her down, where he can quickly kill a few squirrels or something, just so that he can maybe cook them up so she'll have some food to eat, to help get some of her strength back slowly. And he wants to get her some fresh water because he didn't see any water in that entire place that he was there. So, yeah. So those are his two goals. So maybe first thing he would smell out is maybe a stream or a small pond or something where there's water. And then from there, once he finds that, he can make a decision that night. But he doesn't want to rush along, and he wants to make sure that she's healed up. He's hoping that now that they're out of the area, she'll heal like he does, like when he was fighting with Oxbear. His tooth got knocked out, but that grew back there when he was asleep. He's hoping.
You still are missing the tooth there.
Oh, am I? Oh, that's awesome. All right, that's even better.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at least the claw marks and stuff, that stuff heals, right, normally? Yeah.
No, they don't. That's the thing. Werewolves heal, but they leave scars. If you lose a limb, if you lose a tooth, if you lose your nose, those just, scar tissue covers them. You don't heal any lost appendixes.
Right. Well, they still heal faster than what I'm saying. Like, it didn't take them long to heal the claw marks and stuff that I had on me.
No, that healed.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm hoping that will kick in for Red Claw, and she'll be, like, maybe just even a night's rest will make her so much stronger than she would be. At least that's what Mike was thinking. He hopes.
Okay. Well, it doesn't take you long for you to actually get the scent of a river. There's a lot of rivers here because you're so close to basically, the ocean, and there's the giant lake where the island is in the middle. Even though you don't know about the island in the middle there, being a werewolf sept or anything like that, you still know that there's a ginormous lake there that has lots of rivers flowing out of it and into it. So it doesn't take you too long to find actually a riverbed there, and you find suitable shelter there easily, and it's also not a chore at all to find also good sustenance, good little small time game there. You find some larger birds in the woods, and you find squirrels don't have that much meat on them, but you find like larger birds and that sort of stuff. Like I can't remember the English names of some bird breeds, but still, still you find certain like chicken-sized forest roaming birds there, and stuff like that. Larger game like that you've never hunted in your werewolf forms. So, and I'm not sure if you've ever hunted in your human form either. So, the larger game might be much more challenging, but the chicken-sized, birds and such is easy enough to get a hold of, and they will provide lots of good protein.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, Michael goes about that once he, has Red Claw resting comfortably up against a tree, and I mean, would you say that the average person would know how to start a fire with?
Yeah, you'll know how to start a fire. Yeah, especially since you've been so hands-on in the household that you've been running for your uncle. It's like, yeah, you know exactly how to put out a fire.
All right, so we'll assume So we'll assume Michael starts a fire and gets that cooking, and he's kind of hoping that Red Claw will wake up. But if she doesn't wake up once the meat is done, he'll gently go over and kind of just gently shake her.
Yeah, it's
and he's in his normal human form now too.
Yeah, just as you're about to go to shake her, it's like Red Claw is sleeping and everything seems to be like very calm and very like regular, and then your nostrils and your senses get invaded by an outside smoke and vapor that digs its way into your senses, and immediately you get this like this inbuilt like this tense feeling, and then you feel a human hand come and shake you on your shoulder, and that's when you wake up.
Well, you see her eyes blast right open, and she takes like a big deep and like this orange saliva, this goop, this snot becomes coming out of her nose and mouth, and she just coughs it up right there on the spot. And then immediately she begins crawling over like some animal, just running over there on all fours towards like the stream, and she just buries her face into the water, and then her whole body in there, and she just begins like writhing around into the stream and then taking the fresh water into her mouth, and for the first time in a long time drinking. And when she does drink, she gets this gurgled reaction, and it throws up once more with more of this orangey goop that begins to clear up after a while as her system expunges this stuff. And after breathing heavily with her face and forehead up against the water, she begins to take slow drinks back and forth, and then crawls herself back up on land near the fire, and then she'll grab any of the uncooked meat. She'll just grab it and start eating right into it. All the birds in the valleys.
Michael sees right in front of him that she's kind of going into a feeding frenzy like a slew of piranhas or something. It's just you have that a pheasant it was, yeah, you have that pheasant meat there that she grabbed and is munching down on. So yeah. She
Michael
definitely is lively, but
Michael kind of squats down on the opposite side from where she's just devouring that raw flesh, and maybe another time that would have been kind of disgusting to Michael, like he would never do that, but there were times when he was in his Krenos form where the object of eating something raw wasn't that bad of an idea. Like when he got really hungry at the end of the day and he killed something, there were these times where he thought, I could just eat this. I don't have to do a fire. And then he'd always stop and be like, that's crazy, you know, and he'd cook it up and he'd eat it. But so he doesn't judge her completely, and he knows what he's going through, but he does kind of give her space as it makes him a little nervous. And
yeah, you think you know what she's gone through, but
yeah, as she slows down, and maybe a little bit, he'll say, I'm Michael.
And like you'll see that she's devoured it quite quickly, and she's taking the heart out and stuff, and she's plucking that out, taking the guts, but she's about to pop in that liver, and she stops, sniffs, and then tosses that off to the side, but then starts going with everything else.
you do notice that he did introduce himself with his human name, so
Yeah.
that kind of does stand out to you. That, and especially since he didn't know what a red talon is and all that, he does seem like he's a total newbie to all of this.
And he is he's only 13, so like too, if you're looking at him, he's just starting to get mature. Like when you're looking at him, he's fairly tall, but yeah, he's still got that young. He's got a weird haircut where the middle of his head is just starting to grow hair, and you know the sides are long, but the rest of it from the past week or so he hasn't shaved. So he's got peach fuzz, but it's kind of a weird looking, a strange looking haircut that he's kind of just resting there.
All these things begin to come clear in her mind as she's waking up and she's getting this new nutrition into her system, and she's kind of picking up that now what is now just bone in her mouth, and you begin to hear like a crunch as she bites into the bone, and then she just starts to suck out the marrow within on both ends, and then tosses those bones aside, and it's kind of what is your true name?
He kind of looks and he's like, Wolf.
And she like puts her hand to her chest. I am Red Claw.
And he not knowing what to say, he says, I'm Michael. Good to meet you, Red Claw.
How do you not have your true name, the name that is of your spirit?
He said, my mother called me Wolf, but when we had our Christian names, my uncle changed it to Michael.
She begins giving me like this really deep questioning stares as she's like, crouched down. And, like she'll pick up like bits of the other creatures that have been collected, and she'll just begin like, and maybe some of that cooked meat, and start popping in her mouth. Who sent you here? You said bear spirits. Was it really the totem spirit that sent you here?
Yeah, I mean, I called him Master Bear. He didn't give me a name, but he was a bear. And we climbed a tree. He showed me the north.
Have you met others of our kind?
He kind of like, with that, he kind of like, almost he scowls. He's like, I met this girl, Agnes, and her father, he was the one who brought me. He hit me, and he knocked me into the Umbrus, and then I ended up basically he beat me up, and then we ended up, and that's how we ended up he brought me to the bear. He kept calling himself, wait, did he call himself? Yes. Yeah, the Master Bear called him Oxspear.
Oh, just when you mention that name, like some of the bones that she has in her hands, they just snap in two as you see like the veins in her body. And even in the surprisingly small form that she has now, this thin form just yeah. Oxspear, he lives. That coward.
Michael actually steps back, a little nervous, and then he's like, yeah, I think he was going to kill me for courting his daughter. I don't know, but he brought me to the bear spirit totem, to Master Bear. And Master Bear told me to leave him and to find a warrior who was lost in the north, who was dead but not dead. So I searched you out. He kind of looks down at his hands, and he's like, I've only done that stuff a couple times. I didn't even know it was part of me till like 6 days ago.
She stares deeply at the fire. You see it reflecting off of her green eyes, and she looks back at you. I see. You're still a pup. And yet...
Yeah, Michael kind of scowls at you. Not a pup. It's like, that's what Oxbear said I was.
Well, he is right in that regard. You know very little yet. And yet, you were brought out here, and you found me, where none others have. I think the totem spirit has smiled upon you, and has great things in store for you. I am grateful to you, brother. You are my savior in these times. If it makes it easier for you, you may call me Petra. That is my human name.
Michael kind of whispers Petra to himself, and he says, I would rather call you whatever you'd rather be called, Red Claw or Petra.
She kind of looks up and has a smile, this toothy smile on her. She goes, good. That is your first step, brother. Red Claw is exactly what I like to be called. Now, and she'll begin to eat. Join in on this feast. We must prepare ourselves. We are still, she kind of looks around, still in the Red Talon's territory. I know not of their fate since they assaulted the pit fiends, but still, we should keep ourselves wary.
Red Claw, we're not far from where I found the dead priest, the one in red. I wasn't sure if you wanted to maybe investigate that for yourself. I know nothing. He doesn't look like a priest or a Catholic priest that I know of, though he does have rich vestments on. I don't know if that's something. Actually the smell was on him that I tracked you down. I don't know if that's important to you. But Master Bear told me to bring you back to him. Not to Oxbear, not to deal with Oxbear at all, but to bring you back.
I see.
Though
You
back,
say...
I'm not sure where he meant back. He's kind of evasive with the way he spoke to me. And Michael actually kind of chuckles to himself that he's trying to remember the conversation, and he didn't quite impart a lot of information to him that wasn't about the Umbra and the wholeness of the universe and the world. The stuff that would help him find you or to deal with you once he found you, that stuff he didn't give him very much at all to deal with.
The spirits, as she begins to gnaw down the bone, the spirits, they speak in riddles, in metaphor. It's because you must, how do they put it, find the answers within. After all, it speaks to your soul as she taps onto her chest.
Michael kind of reaches up, feels his chest, remembering the times where the bear spirit was in him and that pounding energy was there in his chest. He kind of just says, yeah.
That man in the rich vestments you described. Hmm. I know nothing of this person. It does not sound familiar, but if I know anything of the Red Challenge, he was probably at the wrong place at the wrong time, and they probably killed him. Left his body there to rot. Hmm. Maybe perhaps to gawk upon later. Hmm. They do not take kindly to humans, or at least not one of them. She glares at the fire as she says that. There was one who kept me there. His name was Pure Love.
Michael's eyebrow kind of goes up. Pure love?
Yeah.
At first he smiles as if he thinks you're joking, then he's like, oh, that's an odd name.
It is a bit, one might say. It is not funny, pup. He had me upon that hole for a long time. I don't know how long. How long has it been?
I don't know. I've been searching for you for 6 days.
6. Doesn't feel like 6. I don't. It feels much longer. It has been a long time, it feels like. In any case, I was in that hole that whole time. That foul magic he has put upon me. I still feel my lungs burning as if embers were inserted upon there. When I find him, I will have his head. And when I see his comrades, I will beat them with his own head. Just as I did before I was set upon.
You can see a look of like shock on Michael's face. He's like, I don't. He doesn't say anything. He's just in shock. Like, obviously, you killing people is not something that Michael's used to hearing, and he's just like, reaches up and kind of covers his mouth, and then absently pokes the fire with a stick, trying not to make eye contact with you.
She kind of begins to notice this after a while, and she, after chewing on a bone a little bit, I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable. You must not be used to such things. I'll tell you this now, though. You will soon be used to them. You'll need to be. Just as the spirit of the bear has drawn its strength into you, so you will find new strength on the battlefield. You will see much gore, much bloodshed, much fighting.
Michael stops poking the fire and kind of slowly brings his head up and looks into your eyes. And he's like, I kind of thought that once I brought you back that I could go back to Vilma. Because that's where Agnes is. I was going to go back there.
What do you mean, go back?
To live. I thought Agnes and I were going to be married.
Yeah, you could obviously go back and perform your human duties, but that is no longer who you truly are.
I don't. But who am I then? I thought I didn't. I don't.
Come over here. Look upon this stream. She gets up, even though her form is scrawny, she manages to carry herself over to the stream and she's pointing at it. Come over here.
You see your authoritative voice like triggers something in Michael, and he immediately just walks over to you, like dropping the stick.
Look in that water. Look at that reflection.
He looks down, kind of shakes his head.
That is not who you really are. This is merely flesh, skin. It is a shell. It hides something within. Do it. Transform. Embrace your nature. This is who you are.
He kind of, Michael looks over and then looks back, and feeling the strength of your conviction, he does. He's kind of kneeling there. He kind of transforms, going right into Krynos form, just kind of skipping past the other form there, hitting it slowly, but then passing into the Krynos form, which he finds is a really comfortable form for him. And kind of just...
Sure. Yeah. It's actually, I'm not sure if you've, of course you've seen your hands, and you've seen, actually,
I haven't seen my reflection at all. Like, so I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, and you haven't seen, actually, Oxpear was in his human form as well, so you haven't even seen a fully fledged werewolf in front of you.
Well, Oxpear turned into Krynos form when he drew me at the end.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. So yeah, you've seen another person, but you haven't seen yourself. Yeah.
So I mean, in my head, I think I kind of look like that, but I don't know. So as I'm sitting there just staring into the water, it's almost mesmerizing as I'm matching the gaze of the creature that's staring back at me, and even though I don't know it, I can see it's somewhat frightening. I mean, the massive jaws, the teeth, the muscles, the predatory eyes in the front of the head, but there's a kindness to the inside of the eyes that remind me of myself, that there's an innocence there. And then as I'm looking closer, I can see my mother's amulet right up by my throat as it rises up because I get bigger and larger. And that reminds me that this truly is me, and that that amulet is still there, which makes it a part of me. And I see the scars on my hand where I was burned, not by the orange goo, but back when my mother had perished and I had reached into the fire to try to save her. So I still have those scars on my arm where the hair just doesn't grow; they're just pink scars. And I look down; it truly is me, but almost a better, a stronger form of me. And though my voice doesn't quite make the sounds that I want to make when I'm speaking, obviously Swedish, right? Yeah, from Sweden. So it doesn't sound like that. It's harder to vocalize those sounds, but everything else seems better. And even as he looks up, you can see way across the river, and he can see into the woods. He's able to see better in the low light of the darkness. You can almost clearly see this kind of coloring where everything is easier to spot and see. And he's picking up the sounds around him, breathing in all of nature. That's something that he's always up. He's always stared into the woods, longing for that calmness, that peacefulness, and he draws that in. And he can't deny what Red Claw is telling him, that this truly is part of his form. This is who he is. And he kind of looks over at Red Claw and smiles.
She leans over into your ear and says very softly, "You wear the skin of many things, and you will walk in many worlds, but deep down, you are Garou." And then she walks to the other side, to your other ear, and she says, "You are child of Gaia, defender of Gaia, the woods, the trees, all of it. It's a primal connection, like the fire behind us. It burns within. It is us, Garou, and you are of the Geta Fenris."
Kind of, when you say Geta Fenris, Michael turns and kind of looks you in the eyes, and he's like, we are Geta Fenris. Almost questioningly towards you.
Yes. You have to be. You're from the same village as I am. There's no doubt you have the blood running through you. You will no doubt be performing your humanly duties, but note that it's just another life. The people there, they matter, but you have new responsibilities now, and that world will open up to you, and you will find a whole new peace to begin with, but you'll also find new struggles to contend with. But that is for the bear spirit to reveal to you. I am no such thing. I am merely just... And she kind of looks up into that night sky, staring upon the moon, and kind of reflects off of her eyes, and she goes, I'm merely just a hungry wolf.
See, beside you, Michael, looking up at the moon, just kind of converts back into its human form and looks over at you, kind of quizzically, and says, perhaps we should get you some more food then. He's like, thank you, Red Claw, for teaching me. I think I understand now, or at least I have a better understanding than what I did.
She grabs a piece of meat and just starts chewing on it, and she looks over at you. It is no problem, my friend, my brother. But do not worry. The elders will teach you much more than I could.
He's like, elders? There are more of us?
Now you see this kind of moment where she kind of face palms herself, and she's like, Michael, you will find that there are a lot more of us.
And his eyes kind of go wide. Like, I don't, I've never heard of anything like us. Of Garou. My uncle never said anything. No one, it's not in the books. Then, like, Michael's mind stops for a second, but there are demons mentioned in the book. We're not demons.
Leave such things to those books. They are merely fairy tales. We are Garou. We are children of Gaia. We are much more than humans now.
Like,
we are creatures of Gaia.
Red Claw, is Oxbeard get a Fenris?
Just kind of clenches onto the bones that she is now holding on to. Yes, unfortunately he is.
Does that mean he's going to be there when you take me to meet the elders? I mean, I'm pretty sure he tried to kill me. And you can see there, you can tell that he's really afraid of Oxbeard. I mean, Oxbeard kicked the shit out of him.
Oxbeard will be there, and before long he will not be. Not when I am done with him. His cowardly ways will be confronted. And she kind of just stares off and way off into the distance as she says that.
Michael kind of sits down and kind of pulls his knees up close to his chest, and he's like, are we still heading to Bildmark, or are we going to the others?
We'll head to Veldmark. My pack is there. The elders will assign you a pack. They will teach you all that you need to know. You'll be introduced to our laws, which must be obeyed. This you will come to know, brother. Again, I thank you. I didn't know how long I would be in that hole, in that pit.
Michael totally unused to anyone thanking him for anything. Everyone just always demanded stuff off him. He's like, you're welcome, Red. I'm glad I could help. I'm glad that Master Bear sent me to help you. I can't imagine what you've gone through. I'm just glad that I got there in time.
Yes, and she just gives out this silent nod and glances back at you. From now on, things will always be different for you, Michael. The next we meet, I shall hope that you'll have your true name, and we shall speak as more than brothers and sister. We shall be allies, perhaps even packmates, should fate be fortunate upon us.
Michael smiles at that and just kind of sort of just rocks where he is, just sitting there. His mind beginning to wander off into thoughts of having Guru brothers and sisters, siblings, people that he's never had. He's barely had any family at all. In his head, he's like, he has maybe a potential bride and her family, and now he has brothers and sisters that are part of him because of his Guru nature. But even through all that slight happiness in him, that unusual joy that he's feeling, he still thinks of his uncle, and he's wondering how his uncle is doing, how he left him, and he doesn't know how he can think that Michael's dead, and he's concerned over his uncle at the same time. But he doesn't let that totally devour his mind. He just continues to rock. Just waits.
Are you planning to stay the night there and make camp, or are you planning to move ahead as soon as you've kind of gathered your strength and that sort of stuff?
Red Claw will suggest that she will look up to you, Michael, and she'll say, I've had my share of food for now. I feel my strength returning to me. We should continue to push forward into Wildmark as quickly as possible. Do you feel up to it?
I do. I feel fine right here. If you think you're up to it.
She gives you like a smile, like the smirk across her face, and she goes, it'll take more than that pit to keep me down. And after that, she begins to muster the strength within to transform.
Transform into a Krynos form?
Actually, she'll just go straight into Lupus.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll start to see her grow very big and strong, hair covering all of her, and she goes into her Krynos form, and then as she goes into her Krynos form, she begins to lurch down on all fours. As she reaches back, it begins to look like this massive wolf, and then begins to revert into this, what looks like just like a normal-sized wolf at that point. And then she glances back up at you. Come.
Michael just stares at her, amazed at what you've just done, and
she cocks her head, like the ears perk up, and she just kind of cocks her head. Well, go into Lupus. Come.
It's like I don't, and they just. Because they're just saying it so casually, he just stops and transforms into the Krynos form, and then he just kind of looks at you and he's like, shrugs.
Do you not know how to go into Lupus?
Yeah. No.
You kind of see her kind of sit down and like a pall come up over her own face. And so she'll revert back into Krynos form. And as she does, she'll walk up to you, and looking you straight in the eye, she'll say, "Reach down within. You'll feel something deep, primal. There. Reach down, feel it, grab it, pull it forward, and put upon you new skin. Go. Do it."
Michael begins concentrating and gets down on all fours like you saw Red Claw do, and starts thinking of, she looked like a wolf, just a gigantic wolf, so he starts thinking of that, and then after straining for a little bit of while, he just can't release, I guess, the humanity part of the Krynos form. He doesn't quite want to step over to where he's afraid that he'll lose what human part of him he is. And so he stops shifting.
Seeing this stalling, she just walks over in her Krynos form, kind of balls her hands up into a little fist and lightly clunk on the head. Not hard, not like she's being abusive or anything, but it's like ding ding, and she's like, "Don't think about it, do it."
Oddly, the distraction is just enough to make him forget that he was worried about losing himself, and then he just kind of bursts into that whatever form that's called, I don't know.
Form.
Yeah. And then from there, he finds it slightly easier to make himself smaller, and because he knows what a wolf looks like. He's fought wolves before, so he knows what that looks like. And goes into the wolf, and he just takes in all the sensations. The Krynos form probably doubled or tripled his sensations that he could smell and see and taste. But being in a wolf form is probably something he's never, that type of sensation of being able to smell things from miles away. And even though he doesn't understand what the smells are, it's just this new sensations going through his entire body of sights and sounds and smells. It's almost like a different world all at the same time. And he almost just stands there until Red Claw says anything, as he's just trying to, you just see him just taking in everything that's around him. His eyes are darting around, and his ears are just going back and forth as he's picking up sounds from all over.
Red Claw begins to take all this in, and she just nods her head as you do this, and then she reverts back into her lupus form. And as she does, though, you notice that her Krynos form, it like her, is also emaciated, strong, of course, but it's a shallow form of what it once was. And when she goes into her wolf form, you notice that the ribs are still showing. It's like a starved wolf. But it walks up and it nods its head to you, and it begins to bolt out.
Yeah, and with added to that, those ribs and all that, you still have those patches of hair missing here and there.
Oh, yeah.
And also some battle scars here and there, especially when you were fighting with the Red Talons. One of them scratched you on your thighs quite well with its toenails or toe claws or whatever, and you have your share of battle scars on your body, to be sure.
Mm. Oh yeah, her body is riddled with them, and the pink scars all across her leg, which already looks somewhat mangy and very starved, and you get all that detail in there, and she still begins to just bolt off and run from the campsite as she looks back at you to follow.
Yeah, Michael immediately takes off, following her. Not in any way trying to outpace her, just following close to her, just keeping an eye on her so he doesn't lose her, because he feels that he can easily get distracted and kind of go off his own way.
She's not going that fast. She's well, she does bolt off. She feels her strength not yet at 100%, and she still feels that every breath she takes still burns. Oh, a month in there is that not even the timeout is not enough to purge all this burning sensation she still feels, and so she keeps a fast pace, but not one that's going to be hard to keep up with.
Okay. As you were both, straight up north, and you're basically heading up straight up south, during your trip, it wouldn't be much of a you wouldn't steer much from your destination if you were to go to the rock formation where the body of the priest was. If you wish to go there, you can go there, but if you wish not to go there, you can just go past it.
I think if we were getting close, Michael would be like trying to talk. But right, you can't talk in wolf form. I'm right. I think right. That's the whole thing. So
You can talk in in this kind of a collection of body language and different kind of growls and stuff.
Is that just given to me, granted to me instantly, or?
Oh well, it kind of comes naturally, actually.
Okay, good. All right. So yeah, so I mean, at first Michael tries to talk, not knowing that he can't talk in the wolf form, and then that probably slows Red Claw down a little bit, and then he just kind of signals to her, doing the tail, just sending, the 50 yards that way is where the crevice is with the priest.
She nods her head and she begins to head right towards it. All of her paws sinking into that muck and mud as they both galloped.
Yeah. As you get close to the rock formation there, like described earlier, like I described earlier of the rocks there and the crevice there and all that. But it's like this time as Michael goes to press on the rock with your paws, you don't sense anything out of the ordinary. It just feels like a normal rock as you go on top of it.
Yeah, actually, you see Michael actually like go to place his paw on the rock and then stop for a second, almost like he's expecting something weird to happen, and then nothing happens, so he kind of trots up, and then obviously looks at the crevice.
Okay. What about Red Claw?
As she just begins looking around, she'll revert into her Krinos form and glancing up at him. Michael, where is exactly where this body was? Where? I can smell something rotting.
Michael at the top of the rock, pointing his muzzle down into the hole.
As he points there, and you're smelling. Mike, when I was describing to Michael's senses what he was smelling, like he was smelling the rotten corpse, but also he picked up that certain smell. When you're smelling it, you pick up the certain smell of a certain someone named Pure Love. You pick up the mixture of a human dead corpse and the remnants of his stench.
She begins to snarl as she smells this, and both of her massive Krinos hands get up upon the crevice, and her head just reaches down into there, smelling even further.
As you
Pure love.
As you look there, you see the same priest's body that I described earlier to John as it's just there, and you see that its face has been clearly, to you it looks like, clearly a hippo has bitten its face off. You've seen similar things before. But as you're looking at it and seeing the red priest's robe and all that stuff, you don't see anything really that distinctive. But the moment your eyes lock on the neck and you see the bruises of a necklace strap there, it's almost like your sight freezes on that detail for a little bit. Your senses become filled with that additional stench of pure love, and as you're kind of freezed on it for like a few seconds, you hear the same kind of this sensation in your ear that you heard when you looked at the necklace, the bright orange necklace that was on Pure Love's neck when you were looking up at him from the pit.
Her eyes widen, and she lunges her massive hand onto the corpse, grabs it, yanks it out, and puts it right onto the rock.
It's just it's a frail, rotten corpse. So just you just feel like the shoulders just totally dislocated, and the face is just. It's just most likely there's a lot of liquid and insects inside that suit.
She begins like picking through and looking around the neck area to see if she sees anything, and pure love scent is all over this.
Like I described to how Michael saw it, it looks like the bruises of the neck look like he's either been strangled with that necklace or that the necklace has been torn off of him so violently that it's left an actual bruise on him. But it definitely looks like he has had a necklace on him.
Is this pure love?
No. No, this is not pure love, but it has pure love scent all upon it. It is. Must be his work. Yes. He came in, strangled this one, killed it, perhaps. Yes. He begins to grab the head and just like kind of like just do this motion and stuff, just looking around.
As you're doing it, it looks like the head would very easily come loose if you should yank it hard enough. It's just, it's a dead body.
Looking at the clothes and stuff, just like grabbing bits of it, just kind of looking at it. I don't know why such a man would be out here by himself. Perhaps drug out here. Yes. Maybe traveling, found, hunted, dragged here. Strange.
They look like they're priestly garbs, but they're not. The colors are wrong. I've never seen anything like this. And my uncle's taken me to churches all over.
Nary have I. Perhaps it is. Very well. And she'll just start grabbing the clothes and like she'll take them off of the corpse and just kind of just roll them up and just kind of hold them there. And then the rest of the corpse she kind of just places back into the crevice a little bit.
Yeah, there isn't any other items there, but as you yank the clothes off, the body is mangled and mashed inside of it from all this, tossing and turning about and being so, old. And it's pretty much that you have to, like, when you put the corpse there, you have to put the severed arm separately there and that sort of stuff because, there's all sorts of, maggots and stuff like that pour out of it, and all these kind of dried up little beetles and insects that come off of it. And especially to Michael, this looks so wrong. It's like he should be laid to rest in a proper way. But
yeah, I mean, Michael's not going to say anything to Red Claw. He just kind of tucks his tail under him and backs away, just kind of like as much to get away from the disgustingness and the smell. And then when she rolls up the clothing, he's like, they're going to take those with us. And you can tell that the smell is so strong, and he's not used to being in this wolf form where everything is 100 times stronger, and it's just, you can see him in the corner, like, eating grass, trying to just get the smell out of his.
She points the cloth at you and she goes, "You must not be afraid of death. Death is a part of the cycle. All things die. You and me will eventually be that," pointing towards the rotting corpse. "We will all join Gaia eventually. What matters is how you do so. Will you do so as a proud warrior, fighting for what you believe in?"
See, Michael steps up and kind of just nods his head, and he's like, I will. He's like, but the smell, I'm not used to the smell.
Oh, don't worry. You soon will be. Hopefully, it will not be under less than favorable circumstances. Come. And she begins to lightly run off.
Michael takes like a couple steps and kind of looks into the crevice, and yeah, and this time without even saying a prayer, he just kind of runs off after Red Claw.
Okay. At this point, is there anything you would like to do before you arrive in your pack's territory? Or should we see that?
Oh, right before she arrives in the pack's territory, she stops, and she looks over towards Michael and motions for him to stop. And she'll look at him and say, "It is important that you announce your presence to your fellow pack. Not only that, but to other packs. You make sure to announce your presence that you are coming over, or that you ask permission if you are lower on the scale." And she kind of rears up and does a howl, just "Howoo!" to announce that she is coming back.
Yeah, and it's very relieving. This is the first time you've gotten to howl all out after being in that pit. It's like it's almost like a cleansing sensation.
Oh, when I do it at first, it's really rustic. And she coughs a bit, and then she kind of and just lets it loose and echoes outwards, purging herself, it feels like, of what was ailing her throat.
Yeah. You know about your territory that you're someone who doesn't need to like sit by and wait for somebody to come get you. You can just like announce it, like, you know, the door was open, I came in, type of thing, you know, when it's your territory that's in question. And you let out the howl, and you don't hear any response to it afterwards.
Michael follows suit with just his own, kind of a longer, high-pitched howl that comes out of his Lucas form, which is different than his Chronos form. And just lets it go, kind of keeping it as long as she did, just trying to copy what Red Claw had done.
Yeah, and you recognize that clearly as basically, since the werewolf language consists of all kinds of yelps and growls, and it's kind of like this Chewbacca language, you know, made out of wolf sounds and stuff. When somebody howls these howls, it's also like it resonates with you like as if it were words and sentences in a language, and it was clear, like, you could hear what she was howling, you know, declaring her presence, you know, to a territory and stuff, with, you know, with this pronunciation of herself, and who she is, who is the one howling and that sort of thing. So it's easy for you to mimic that because you kind of understand the language, you know. Like naturally, you understand naturally the language, you know. Even in your Krynos form, you don't speak Swedish, you speak the werewolf language of this Chewbacca sounding language, you know. But
Come,
yeah.
let us go. She bolts off downward.
As you're going in, you haven't gone for further than, let's say, like 200 meters, and since your character sheets aren't made yet, I can't have you throw alertness and perception, but let's just say you are taken completely by surprise as right in front of you, like 2 meters in front of you, from the treetops, a Krynos leaps right in front of you with the ground just emitting smoke as this heavy body just thumps down with its gray fur as in gray as all the Fenrir werewolves that are that are, in control of this territory and have been for ages. And as it comes down with this force, and it like lashes out its paws with all these falcon-like talons, ready to rend flesh and off of bone and stuff, and it just with its head hunched lower. From like all the same line as its shoulder line, it just poof, and immediately this kind of warrior face, or this not warrior, but this fierce face of someone Redclaw actually recognizes, immediately goes into this expression of disbelief, and you see this Krynos just freeze up and immediately like revert back to its natural lupus form, and Redclaw immediately recognizes it to be Red Bitch, the Ragabash of the pack that you talked with after the moot before the actual Blitzkrieg took place with the Red Talons, and she's looking at you with this face of disbelief, and she's like, "Okay, what kind of a fucking trick is this?"
Red Bitch. It's good to see you again.
Wait. She's taking like steps backward. She's just. What the fuck is this? Who the hell are you? How?
This is Michael, sent by the bear. He does not have his true name yet. He has not been introduced, strangely, yet the totem spirit guided him to me and got me out of there.
What, from the dead?
From the Red Talons who captured me. They took me alive. As Oxspear fled, he abandoned me there. And as she says that, she's getting tired now because she's been traveling all this time, and she reverts to her human form, and she, revealing even further how emaciated she is. She has nutrition now, but she hasn't filled out at all, and her ribs and her body is still just showing, but she's got this determined look upon her that she will not be taken down so easily.
You look like shit.
I feel like it as well.
And this Michael found you and brought you back?
Yes. How long have I been gone?
Oh, sister, it's been an entire moon cycle. We all thought you were slain in the initial attack.
No, those cowards couldn't slay me. They could only render me unconscious. Even then they tried to kill me, but you know what? I put up fight even then. Come, show me to the others.
The others are they're at the Sept. I'm the only one at current here. Oh, Gaia, have mercy! You have no idea what's. It's good to see you back. It's fucking great to see you back. And she steps forward and kind of in this dog-like way, kind of pushes her head into your arms and stuff.
Yeah, she puts her forehead up against hers and just kind of holds her there. It's good to be back. I didn't think I would be getting out of there anytime soon. But thanks to Michael, I now have a new lease on life, a new opportunity.
You sure do. You're sorely needed here.
What has happened?
Well, we best head to the island. We best head. We we better head to the sept. I'll I'll explain everything as we go, but let's go. You too, Michael.
Come.
You're while she's talking, you're heading towards the lake on your from east of you at your current state. She's kind of shaking her head, and our numbers are dismal at this point.
Are the pit fiends, have they been annihilated?
They have. There aren't any pit fiends left there, and every single pack is so strained in numbers that nobody's been able to even cover the old pit fiend territory yet. They would strain their own territory so thin that it would be impossible to guard over. There's only now that you're here, there's only 4 of us.
Only 4.
8 of us fell, and more have fallen from the packs that were actually right at the front, such as the pit fiends, and with screaming eagles and bullheads. They were right there to give. They were right there to give more support, which meant more casualties for them. But the Red Talons were full of themselves. They thought too highly of themselves. A good warrior would have taken the areas that they conquered and set up good defenses and gathered their strengths, gathered their numbers, and made up strategy, looked up what the enemy is reacting, and then formulate their attack based on all of that. And as soon as they had their initial attack and they decimated the defenses of the things that could have that no sane person would even call defenses, they weren't taken too seriously. Well, that stroked their ego perhaps a bit too much, and they went straight for the sept. They went straight for the island, and they all died in that assault. The Red Talons lost miserably, but they did drag a great number of us down with them. We're merely a shadow of our former selves at this point. If anybody else were to come and challenge us at this point, or if any spiritual cataclysm would happen with worm spirits roaming in veins, roaming their way our way, we would be being ill prepared would be that would be an overstatement of what we're capable at this point. We're just pathetic, if you ask me. But everybody's praising our victories. Everybody's pounding their chest. Everybody feels like the fact that they survived. This means that they're like the double or triple the warrior that those Red Talons were, or our fellows who fell, or any of the sort. They feel like this has somehow strengthened us. You know, it's for fellow Fenrir, it's of course something to be expected to go to their heads and then feel themselves greater warriors because of a massacre. But you know as well as I do, we're in no shape to take on anybody. We're not much more than glorified woodsmen here. We're just looking after the forest for all I know. Maybe I'm being too cynical. It's in my nature as a Ragabash, but
Where is Oxspear?
he's in the sept. They're grooming him.
Grooming him? For what?
This war left the council of elders so thin that there's a lot of positions to be filled. It's just that our numbers are so thin that there's almost nobody to draft from. So Oxspear is being groomed at this stage. I don't know, at least he's not officially being groomed. It's just that when Good Death himself is personally training him in combat, you know that he's being groomed to be the next warden.
A warden? He doesn't deserve such honor. He abandoned me out there. They will hear of this. All of them will.
Wait, what are you at? What? You say that he abandoned you. He was the only one who came back from the front. If he wouldn't have come to us, we wouldn't have known anything of what was going on. And he told us you were disemboweled in front of his eyes by 3 red talons.
He lies. When they came upon us, I ran up upon the hill as he slept and let loose the howl to alert the others. I told him to get in his Krynos form and to fight, and we did. We took out a few of them. I was beset by 2, and then the 3rd. That is when he looked and just ran, tucked tail between legs, and made off. Next thing you know, I see a club to my face, and I awake a prisoner, the red talons. They try to claw at me, bite me. Some try to finish me off there, but I fought back even still. Made them think twice. Made them choke on fist, I did. But no. That was only the beginning. They threw me in a pit. I was there for that month. With that disgusting magic from pure love.
As you're ranting, Michael notices that Red Bitch kind of looks to the side. It's kind of she looks like she is not exactly sure what to make of what she's hearing, and she kind of makes eye contact with you, kind of with this kind of a look that you can read that she's kind of like, is she for real? Kind of, kind of this thing that
as she's looking at
Mike for a month, it can mess up somebody's mind, and make them kind of their memory kind of do tricks on them. Like, she has that kind of a look on it.
Yeah, what she does, she just gets a look from Michael that's one of basically almost just determination, like everything that Red Claw is saying is true. As Michael's back hair is all fully fluffed out, with the mention of Oxspear has got him all adrenaline pumped that he's and then Red Claw's talking about how he left her, and his natural protective nature of her is now making him even angrier, and his tail's kind of under his legs. So yeah, she gets no questioning look from him. He believes Red Claw 100%. Though he doesn't say anything, he just stares at her.
Okay. Well, she doesn't exchange anything with you there, but she's kind of like, sure. It's kind of like she doesn't dismiss what you're saying, but at the same time, she doesn't quite know what to say to it. But at that point, you reach the edge of the lake, and Michael also sees in the distance something that you haven't seen before. This ginormous lake. You know that the lake that's in front of Wildmark, that where the fishermen do all their fishing and stuff, that there's streams and rivers that go off of it that, of course, must lead somewhere. And you've just never been, you haven't done this long hiking through the woods to see where that really like connects, and you see this ginormous lake where most likely those rivers go into, and you see in the distance of this lake, you see this island popping up. That's the island is pretty much the size of the Colosseum of Rome, and it's a natural Colosseum. It's like it rises up as this hill, and when the top is there, it's kind of flat, and it goes back into inwards. But you don't see the inward part from the outside. But you do see that the rising hillside is covered in pine trees. And Red Bitch and Red Claw both are, getting into the water there in front of you.
Michael stops at the edge for a second, and let's just watch them swim to see if they change form or do anything, but they just kind of paddle out there. He's a little nervous as he's never swam that far, I don't think, so. But he gets in there and trusts in his lupus form and just kind of dog paddles out there, following behind.
She'll turn to her head and look to you. Come on, Michael. Do not lag behind. It is just water.
Red Bitch kind of looks at Red Claw and is like, so this Michael, and actually at that point she kind of looks at Michael and she's like, where did you pop out?
Kind of just really not knowing what to say. He's like, I'm from Bildmar.
Okay. That's in our territory. In the Warhearts territory. The pack that Oxspear leads. Also, Red Claw.
Oh, yeah, I lost you guys.
Man, that's one hell of a lag spike.
He's stuck in that position. So during the intermission, I'm gonna go bio break for a second. I'll break.
Cool. Well, folks, sorry for this little slight interruption here. It's just a wee bit of the technical difficulties. Oh, yeah, we lost him.
Oh no, we lost him completely.
Yeah, he completely dropped out. Oh boy.
Will it still record?
Oh yeah, it's still live. Yeah, we're still on there, but Hammered is not. Poor Hammered.
Oh,
It appears that the worm has weaved its way and prevented Jonas from continuing the game. There should be like a little thing that pops up that says "Stand by for technical difficulties." It's got werewolves battling against the worm.
Oh man, I can't wait for Red Claw to pound Oxspear into the earth.
All right, I've been thinking about how I'm gonna do it. Get ready for Suplex City.
All right, he beat the crap out of me, so damn it. But of course, I have 0 fighting skill, so it's like, yay!
Oh, you're gonna get tons by the time this is done.
Get away! He didn't say anything on Facebook. I wonder if he dropped.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook right now too. I don't see him on there. Ugh. I mean, Ro here is on there, but I don't see. Let's see.
Poor here. He started what 10 weeks ago, 11 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 12. Almost. Oh my God, almost 3 months. He's been waiting to play.
That's gosh. It's after this one, and then like I think yeah, the character, and then
No, we could bring him in for the character one just for fun, just to have him.
yeah,
Not saying he can't come in and hang out.
yeah, yeah. Why not? We'll do that. Yeah.
I know he
So-
wants to do the bear, and I want to do the bear, so we have to put points to it. I guess there's something about it builds the totem. The more points you put into it, the bigger the advantages are. I don't really know more about it, but Rohir was saying something about it. So I think he actually saved points to spend on it. So kind of need him there anyways to know what he put into it.
Yeah, that'd definitely be helpful. I know I'm just gonna go straight warrior, just to
Well, we need it if you're looking.
yeah.
High
Oh, yeah.
zero.
Well, I mean,
Trump priest, basically.
like Jonas is messaging me. Oh, I gotta invite him back. Copy. Wait.
Of course, I don't speak Finnish, so which button does that?
Well, no, all you gotta do is like hit the you gotta just select the URL and just copy and paste it. Oh, that's an awesome little picture there of a Stone Cold.
Ah, oh my God. Yeah, my heart skipped out a little beat there. I had a blue screen of death.
Oh no!
Out of nowhere. Good thing you guys didn't shut down this call. We could have picked up a new one, of course, but much easier this way. Phew. Yeah. So the last thing I said, I believe, was that that Red Claw picked up on hearing Red Bitch mention to Michael that that the Wildmark town is in the territory of the Warhearts pack led by Oxspear. And you hear led by Oxspear. That kind of stung in your ear.
Are you telling me that Oxspear is now the leader of our pack?
Yes.
Has war been declared?